How's it going, everybody? Daner here with North Central Coins, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the most rare and valuable coins in Canada. Today we're going to be counting down the 10 most valuable Canadian Toonies that you might have sitting in your change jars or collection, and if identified correctly, could make you some big money. Every single one of the coins that we discussed today, although extremely rare, is not impossible to find, and in this video we will explore each of these valuable pieces of currency and delve into why they hold such incredible value in Canadian numismatics. Additionally, we will discuss any distinguishing and identifying features, their significance among collectors, and also the potential value if you happen to own or find a legitimate example of any of these rare gems. Before I do get into this, I would really appreciate if you guys would smash that thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and also ring that bell notification so you can follow along with my new content as it is being released. And make sure to stay to the end of the video if you'd like to find out which is the most valuable Canadian toonie that you might have. And then without any further ado, what do you say we get right into it and take a look at the 10 most valuable Canadian toonies of all time? Let's get it, guys. Die chip heirs such as the pedestal D, pedestal S, and pedestal 0 varieties can be found on the 2000 Canadian Toonies and are intriguing anomalies that captivate both numismatists and collectors alike. Understanding the nuances of each of these varieties requires a keen eye for detail and also an appreciation for the intricacies of the minting process. So what I will do is I will go through each of the 3 different pedestal varieties that can be found on the 2000 Knowledge Toonies, and I will tell you how to identify them, and then we will discuss the values of all of these rare coins. So let's start off with the pedestal D variety. This variant is distinguished by a minute die chip located on the bottom left of the letter D in the word dollars on the obverse side of the coin. To identify this anomaly, one must carefully inspect the lettering, particularly in the word dollars. The die chip you are looking for should appear as a small protrusion or imperfection, often barely noticeable to the untrained eye. The die chip in the pedestal D variety can be located to the bottom left of the D in the word dollars. Moving on to the pedestal S variety. To identify this, you have to direct your gaze towards the bottom center of the letter S in the word dollars on the obverse side of the coin. If you can identify a small die chip at the bottom center of the letter S in dollars, then you have the pedestal S variety. Identifying these anomalies requires meticulous scrutiny of the coin's surface with a focus on pinpointing any deviations or irregularities in the lettering. And then last but not least, we have the pedestal 0 variety, which presents a unique die chip error on the reverse side of the coin. So to locate this anomaly, you need to flip over to the reverse and then look at the last digit of 0 in the date of 2000 that is engraved on the coin. If you can find a tiny die chip at the bottom right of the digit 0, it will set it apart from the standard issue toonies and you will have the pedestal 0 variety. Now, how exactly do these rare die chip errors come into existence? The creation of die chip errors is a result of various factors inherent in the minting process. During the production of coin dies, which are used to stamp designs onto blank planchettes, imperfections can occur due to wear and tear, improper maintenance, or even minute particles becoming lodged within the coin dies. These imperfections manifest as tiny protrusions or irregularities on the surface of the die, which in turn transfer onto the coins during the striking process. The result is a series of coins featuring these subtle yet distinguishable anomalies, such as the pedestal D, pedestal S, and pedestal 0 varieties found on the 2000 Knowledge Canadian Toonies. In the realm of numismatics, these die chip errors add a level of intrigue and complexity to coin collecting. They serve as tangible reminders of the meticulous craftsmanship and inherent variability that is present in the minting process. As enthusiasts continue to seek out these fascinating anomalies, they contribute to the rich tapestry of numismatic history, preserving and celebrating the quirks and intricacies of coinage for generations to come. Now, some of the details and specifications for the Canadian 2000 knowledge tunies, if any of these are off and may indicate that the coin is not authentic, Canada actually has a huge problem with counterfeit tunies. It is not too often that you will find general circulation coins that are counterfeited, because usually it will not be profitable. But in the case of the tunies, it is actually profitable for them to make counterfeits, simply because the material that is used is cheaper than the actual face value of the coin. The dates you will usually find for Canadian counterfeit tunies are 1996, 2000 knowledge tunies, and also 2005 and 2006. So you definitely want to make sure all of the specifications are bang on if you want to identify any of the pedestal varieties and be able to get the maximum amount of money out of this coin, because if you identify these on a counterfeit, it will be pretty much worthless. So the coin is composed of 100% nickel for the outer ring, and the inner core is composed of 92% copper, 6% aluminum, and 2% nickel. It has a weight of 7.3 grams. It has a diameter of 28.00 millimeters for the exterior and 16.8 millimeters for the center, with a thickness of 1.80 millimeters. It was designed and engraved by Dora DePadre Hunt for the obverse and Cosme Saffioti for the reverse. The edge is interrupted serration, and the die axis is in metal alignment, as is the standard for most Canadian, British, and Australian coins. Now let's get into the value for the different pedestal varieties for these 2000 knowledge tunies. First, we'll start off with the 2000 knowledge tuni without any errors or varieties. It can be worth around $2.90 for an MS60, and all the way up to around $150 for an MS67. Now, if you can identify the pedestal D variety, which will mean there will be a small die chip located to the bottom left on the D in the wording for dollars on the obverse of the coin, it can be worth around $5 for an MS63 and all the way up to $350 for an MS66. So the pedestal D variety is about twice as valuable as the regular 2000 knowledge tuni without any errors or varieties. And then we have the 2000 knowledge pedestal S variety. You can identify this by locating the die chip on the center bottom of the S in the wording for dollars. It can be worth around $5.20 for an MS63 and around $300 for an MS66. It's actually a little bit less valuable and rare than the pedestal D variety, but still worth a lot more than the regular issue without any errors attributed. Now, I wasn't actually able to find any of the pedestal zero variety price listings online, but if I had to give an estimate, I would say that it is probably similar in price to the other two, probably worth around $300 for an MS66, and it can probably be worth around $5 to $10, all of these, for an MS63 example. When it comes to their low end value, it's pretty much a case of whatever you can get someone to pay for it is what you will get. If the die chip for any of these pedestal varieties is very noticeable, then it may add a slight premium to the coin. Also, if you can compound any of these varieties together, for instance, if it has the pedestal D and the pedestal S variety at the same time, then you will probably also see some price jumps. It could easily double the value of this coin if you're able to get the pedestal D and S variety both attributed to it. I couldn't doubt that you could get easily around $1,000 for it if it is a high grade example around an MS66 or MS67. So these are some good varieties to look for. None of the Canadian Toonies, unfortunately, are worth a whole lot on the low end. If you can identify any of these errors or varieties for these pedestal Canadian Toonies, it's pretty much a matter of they are worth whatever you can get somebody to pay for them. When the tuni was first being released in the year 1996, the Canadian Mint made a promise to fulfill a quota of a certain amount of tunis entering circulation, and they weren't sure if they could fulfill this quota. So they actually contracted a company by the name of Deutsche Nickel in Germany to help take some of the stress off, and Deutsche Nickel produced some of the planchettes for the Canadian 1996 tunis. Now, there were somewhere around 350 million Canadian planchet tunies produced and only 10 million of the German planchet tunies. So the German is the rarer of the two 1996 planchet varieties, and I've actually made videos on the 1996 German planchet tunies in the past. If you guys would like to check those out and get some more information, I definitely suggest you go give them a little look-see. But little known to most, there are actually a few varieties you can look for on the Canadian planchet tunies, which can add some pretty substantial values to your coins and make them worth a lot more than their face value. The sad reality is, when it comes to modern Canadian denominations like the loonie and toonie, there just aren't too many rare and valuable varieties to look for, but these are some of the more rare toonie heirs that you can identify on your 1996 tunies. And as long as it is not a counterfeit, because there are plenty of those floating around these days, then you can make some pretty good money if you can identify any of these heirs. So what do you say we start off with the first one, which is going to be the 1996 cigar variety. The 1996 cigar variety heir on Canadian Toonies is characterized by a die chip on the end of the polar bear's nose, resembling a cigar above its mouth on the reverse side of the coin. Now, to identify this heir, you need to inspect the reverse side of the coin where the polar bear is depicted, and then look closely at the end of the bear's nose above its mouth for the presence of a small protrusion or anomaly resembling a cigar. This small die chip on the polar bear's nose most likely occurred during the minting process due to a small piece of debris or damage on the die used to strike the coins. As the die came into contact with the planchet, the debris or damage transferred onto the coin's surface, resulting in this unique cigar-shaped anomaly on the polar bear's nose. This heir could have originated from a variety of factors, including imperfections in the die or foreign material accidentally introduced at some point during the minting process. Now, if you can identify this die chip that resembles a cigar on your 1996 toonie, it will typically be found on the Canadian planchet, but if you can find one on a German planchet, it will be worth a whole heck of a lot more than the estimates that I'm giving you. But in most cases, these heirs and varieties are probably going to be found on the Canadian planchets, as there were so many more of them produced than the German. Now, if you can identify the cigar die chip on the 1996 toonie, it can be worth around $10 for an MS63 and all the way up to $75 for an MS65. If it was to grade any higher than that, you would see some pretty substantial price jumps. You could easily be talking a $300 coin if it scored that MS67. If you were to buy an uncirculated roll of 1996 toonies, you may be able to score that high grade. That would probably be your best chance, because if you're finding them in your pocket change or coin roll hunting, they probably aren't going to be quite that high in condition. So let's move on to the next variety, which is going to be the 1996 horn variety. The 1996 horn variety heir on Canadian Toonies is distinguished by a die chip on top of the polar bear's nose, appearing between its mouth and eyes, resembling a horn somewhat reminiscent of a unicorn. To identify the horn variety on your 1996 Toonies, you want to examine the reverse side of the coin where the polar bear is depicted on the center core. Then pay close attention to the area between the polar bear's mouth and eyes on top of its nose for the presence of a small protrusion or anomaly resembling a horn. The origin of the die chip that resembles a horn would have stemmed from similar factors with the cigar variety. Most likely at some point during the minting process, there was a flaw or imperfection on the dies used to strike these coins. As the dies came into contact with the planchets, the flaw transferred onto the coin's surface, resulting in these unique horn-shaped anomalies on the polar bear's nose. Now, if you can identify the die chip on top of the polar bear's head, which will basically resemble a horn, I would say it makes the polar bear look almost like a unicorn, then it can add a pretty substantial value to your 1996 toonie. It can be worth around $40 in an MS63 and all the way up to $150 for an MS65. So the 1996 horn variety is just about twice as rare and valuable as the cigar variety, which is pretty strange considering they are both very similar and they are a die chip. I guess the location of this die chip means just about everything when it comes to the value of these toonies. And last but not least, we have the no ice variety for the Canadian 1996 toonies. If you are somewhat versed in Canadian coins, you might have heard of the horn or cigar variety for the 1996 toonies, but recently a new variety or heir has come onto the scene, and that is the no ice variety. The 1996 no ice variety on Canadian Toonies is characterized by a lack of detail in the background behind the polar bear. When inspecting between the polar bear's legs, you may notice a notable absence of detail, particularly in the depiction of the cracks of ice that are typically visible on standard issues of the 1996 Toonies. To identify the 1996 no ice variety error, examine the reverse side and focus on the area between the polar bear's legs in the background. Look for a lack of detail in this region, particularly the absence of the usual cracks of ice that are present on the regular 1996 Tuni issues. This reduced or faint appearance of the details indicates the presence of this error or variety. This lack of detail in the 1996 no ice variety error is most likely attributed to dye polishing during the minting process. Dye polishing involves smoothing or refining the surface of the dye to remove imperfections or irregularities. In this case, excessive polishing or unintentional damage to the dye may have resulted in the loss of detail in the background behind the polar bear, including the cracks of ice. As a result, the air variety exhibits a distinct lack of detail compared to the standard 1996 Toonies. Now, when it comes to determining the value of the 1996 no ice variety Tuni, I was actually not able to find any estimates online or in any of my coin catalogs. This is a fairly new air that has just come onto the scene as of recent, but if I had to give my estimate, I would say it's probably similar in value to the 1996 cigar variety. I don't want to say it's quite on the high end, but if you can identify this, it will definitely have a premium. So it can probably be worth around $10 for an MS63. You might be able to get around $75 for an MS65, and if it scores in a very high grade around an MS67, you might even be able to get $300 to $500 depending on how bad somebody wants the coin. So the most valuable of these three 1996 Tuni varieties that you can identify is the horn variety. If you were to find one and it scored an MS67, you may be able to get up to $1,000 for this coin. Your best chances of being able to find high grade examples of these would probably be to buy an uncirculated roll from your local coin shop or one of the online coin auction sites. Even if you were to spend $100 to $150 on an uncirculated roll of 1996 Toonies, if the roll does have any of these errors or varieties, you could potentially turn a massive profit. And the good thing about some of these errors is usually when you buy a roll, if one of the coins in the roll has any of these errors or varieties, then probably all of them will, as coins are usually struck in sequence and bunched together. So usually when you find errors or varieties, you will find them bunched together in an uncirculated roll. Now I'm going to give you guys some of the details and specifications for the 1996 Canadian Toonies. For anyone that isn't aware, there's a huge problem with counterfeit Toonies in Canada, and I have encountered 4 different dates of counterfeit Toonies: 1996, 2000, 2005, and 2006, and the most counterfeit Toonies that I've stumbled across have the date of 1996. And if you find a Canadian 1996 counterfeit Tuni, it doesn't matter if you identify any errors or varieties, it is basically worthless and actually illegal to own if you know that it is a counterfeit coin. So hopefully that problem will be addressed soon. But some of the details and specifications for the 1996 Toonies: the Canadian planchet 1996 Tuni has a mintage figure of 315,483,000. The German planchet 1996 Tuni has a mintage figure of 10 million. So the German planchet is far rarer than the Canadian planchet Tuni. I'm not going to go into how to identify and differentiate between the different planchets of the 1996 Toonies. If you guys would like to find that out, I definitely suggest you check out my video on the German planchet Toonies. Now, some of the specifications: the 1996 Toonies outer ring is composed of 100% nickel. Its inner core is composed of 92% copper, 6% aluminum, and 2% nickel. It has a weight of 7.3 grams, a diameter of 28 millimeters, a thickness of 1.8 millimeters. The coin was designed and engraved by Dora DePadre Hunt and Augo Aran for the obverse, and Brent Townsend and Augo Aran for the reverse. The edge of the coin is interrupted reading, and it has a die-axis in metal alignment, as is the standard for most Canadian, British, and Australian coins. The Canadian 2002 Toonies, featuring the unique date inscription of 1952 to 2002, hold a special significance in the realm of Canadian numismatics. These coins were released to commemorate Queen Elizabeth II's Golden Jubilee, and these coins symbolize a milestone in Canadian coinage history. The obverse side of the Tuni depicts the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, while the reverse side features the iconic image of the polar bear. The introduction of the bimetallic Tuni in 1996 revolutionized the country's currency, providing enhanced durability and security features. The $2 coin, with its distinctive outer ring and inner core, quickly gained popularity among Canadians and collectors alike. The 2002 Toonies are part of a broader series of Canadian coins minted that year, each carrying its own significance and design elements. From the double-dated penny all the way to the uniquely designed commemorative 50-cent pieces, these Canadian 2002 coins reflect the country's rich cultural heritage and diverse landscapes. One interesting fact about the Canadian Toonie is its nickname, which derives from a combination of two and loony. The term loony refers to the $1 coin featuring a common loon design on its reverse side. When the bimetallic $2 coin was introduced, Canadians naturally dubbed it the Toonie, emphasizing its double denomination. This unique naming tradition adds a touch of whimsy to the Canadian coinage system, further enhancing its charm and appeal to collectors worldwide. The dot and H variety for the 2002 Toonie is a fascinating heir that adds a layer of intrigue to this already collectible coin. This heir manifests as a small dot, likely a die chip, situated in the bottom half of the letter H in the word Elizabeth, on the obverse side of the coin. Located beneath the center line of the H and nestled between the two side lines that form the letter, the dot and H heir is a subtle yet distinctive characteristic that sets certain specimens apart from the standard circulation coins. Identifying the dot and H variety requires a keen eye for detail. Numismatists and collectors often scrutinize the lettering on the obverse of the coin, paying particular attention to the word Elizabeth. Upon close inspection, the presence of a small dot between the center line of the H should be apparent. While some variations in the strike or surface imperfections may resemble this heir, the distinct placement and size of the dot help distinguish genuine dot and H varieties from other mint anomalies. The origin of the dot and H heir can most likely be attributed to the coin die used in the minting process. Die chips, which are small pieces of metal that break away from the surface of the die, can inadvertently transfer onto the coins during striking. In the case of the dot and H variety, a tiny chip likely formed on the die used to stamp the lettering onto the coin, resulting in the formation of this distinctive dot. Factors such as wear and tear on the die, improper maintenance, or defects in the manufacturing process could contribute to the development of die chips and consequently errors like the dot and H 2002 Toonie. Despite its relatively subtle nature, the dot and H heir holds significant appeal among collectors due to its rarity and uniqueness. Coins exhibiting this variety command attention and often fetch much higher prices in the numismatic market. The quest to acquire such elusive specimens drives collectors to carefully examine their coins and search for these distinctive heirs. As a result, this 2002 dot and H variety adds an element of excitement and discovery into the world of Canadian coin roll hunting, especially when it comes to toonies, and highlights the intriguing intersection of artistry, craftsmanship, and the chance of anomalies occurring during the minting process. Now, before we get into the values for the 2002 Toonies, first let's go over some of the specifications. If any of these are off, it may indicate that it is not a legitimate example. I'm not too sure about the 2002 Toonies, but I know that there are 1996 counterfeit Toonies. There are also 2000 knowledge counterfeits, and 2005 and 2006 are very common years for counterfeit Toonies. Now, the counterfeiters would have had to make a separate obverse die for this 2002 Toonie because it does have the double date of 1952 to 2002, but in the case of the 2000 knowledge Toonie, there are counterfeit examples of that coin, so it didn't stop them having to make a different reverse design. So very well, there could be some counterfeit examples of these 2002 Toonies floating around, and if you happen to find one of those, it doesn't matter if it has die chips or not, it is pretty much worthless. So the overall mintage figure for the 2002 Toonie is 27,008,000. The coin is composed of an outer ring of 100% nickel and an inner core of 92% copper, 6% aluminum, and 2% nickel. It has a weight of 7.3 grams, a diameter of 28 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.8 millimeters. The coin was designed and engraved by Dora DePatry Hunt and Augo Arand for the obverse and Brent Townsend and Augo Arand for the reverse. The edge of the coin is serrated and it has a die axis in metal alignment, as is the standard for most Canadian, British, and Australian coins. Now, as I've mentioned in several of my other videos, unfortunately there aren't a whole lot of Canadian loonies and toonies that are worth too much above their face value, and usually if you find any of the Canadian $1 or $2 coins and they're pretty beat up and not in the greatest shape, you are not going to be able to get a whole lot more money for them than they are actually worth. Now, in the case of the 2002 commemorative toonie, the most amount of money that you could get for that coin is $72 for an MS66. Now that is for the regular 2002 double dated toonie without any errors or varieties. Now, if you can identify the dot, which means you have to flip over to the obverse and look for a small dot or die chip located in the center bottom of the H in Elizabeth, then it can add a pretty large premium to the coin and makes it about twice to 3 times as valuable as the regular issue. So it can be worth around $20 to $25 for an MS64 example, around $120 for an MS66, and if you were able to find one and it got the MS67 or higher, you could easily be talking a $500 to $1,000 toonie. This is a fairly modern piece, so if you are coin roll hunting toonies or checking your pocket change, there is a good chance that you might be able to find one of these 2002 toonies, and it is still in pretty decent shape. But if you want to be able to get the most amount of money for a 2002 dot and H toonie, you want it to be in an exceptional grade, and the best chance of finding one of the toonies that scores in the high MS range is going to be out of an uncirculated roll. Now, being released in the year 2002, these coins are now 22 years old as I am making this video, but in the world of coin collecting, that is a mere blink of an eye, and you can actually find these rolls on Canadian coin sites like Coins Unlimited and Colonial Acres for a pretty decent price. And if you happen to buy one of the rolls, bust it open, and can identify one of these die chips, which is definitely possible, a lot of the time when you are looking for errors or varieties like the 1964 extra waterline nickel, usually if you are busting open an uncirculated roll, either all of the coins will have the error or variety or none of them will. But when it comes to a more minor error or variety like the dot and H, which is a die chip, there is a chance that a few of these toonies could have made their way into the roll, and if you can identify the die chip for the dot and H variety, and even a few of the toonies have them and they are in really good shape, you can turn a massive profit. In the year 1999, to commemorate the establishment of Nunavut, Canada's newest territory, the Canadian government commissioned a special design for the toonie. Renowned First Nations artist Jermaine Arnon-Tayok was selected to create this unique design, infusing it with cultural significance and symbolism reflective of Nunavut's heritage. Arnon-Tayok's artistic vision brought to life the essence of Nunavut's founding, celebrating its indigenous culture and the resilience of its people. This commemorative design graced all 1999 $2 coins intended for general circulation, becoming an emblem of Nunavut's identity and historical significance. Depicting motifs inspired by Inuit art tradition, such as Arctic wildlife and cultural symbols, the coin serves as a tangible representation of Nunavut's rich cultural heritage. This special edition of the toonie held immense significance for Canadians nationwide, marking a milestone in the country's history and recognizing the importance of Indigenous voices and narratives. I actually remember when they first released this commemorative Nunavut toonie. I was only 9 years old at the time, and it was probably the first commemorative coin that I ever found in my pocket change, and even I didn't know back then that decades later these coins would hold such significance in my own life. It's important to note that in 1999, the iconic polar bear design typically featured on Canadian $2 coins was only available in limited quantities within special coin sets tailored for the collector market. These sets were designed to appeal to numismatists and collectors and offered a unique opportunity to acquire a piece of Canadian history and culture. In the fascinating realm of Canadian numismatics, a remarkable tale unfolds with the 1999 Nunavut mule toonie, an air coin that captivates collectors with its unique characteristics and also historical significance. During the minting process of the Nunavut $2 coins, an unusual mishap occurred when the reverse die designated for the striking of proof silver coins was mistakenly employed to produce a portion of regular circulation coins. This unintentional blending of minting processes resulted in the creation of a select number of Nunavut mule toonies, adding to this intriguing chapter in the denomination's history. Identifying these elusive mule coins requires a keen eye and an understanding of their distinguishing features. Unlike their standard circulation counterparts, Nunavut mule tunies lack the raised ring around the inner core on the reverse side of the coin. This anomaly is particularly noteworthy given that the Nunavut tunies were struck in both base metals for circulation and precious metals for collectors, with variations in the reverse design. By examining the reverse of the coin closely, you can discern the absence of the raised rim where the ring and insert meet, indicating the coin's status as the mule variant. Now, the overall mintage for the Canadian 1999 Nunavut toonie is 25,130,000. Let's take a little look into some of the technical specifications into the coin. It was crafted with an outer ring made of 100% nickel and a core comprising of 92% copper, 6% aluminum, and 2% nickel. It has a weight of 7.3 grams and a diameter of 28 millimeters. The edge of the coin is serrated, which adds to its visual appeal and tactile experience, while the engraved designs on both the obverse and reverse sides showcase the artistic talents of renowned artists Dora DePatrie Hunt, Germain Arnott-Tayuk, and Jose Azio. With an estimated production of approximately 3,000 mule coins, the Nunavut mule toonie stands as a rare and coveted treasure within the realm of Canadian numismatics. Its unique status as a handsome mule, coupled with its association within the founding of Nunavut, Canada's newest territory, adds layers of historical significance and cultural resonance. As collectors and enthusiasts alike marvel at these intriguing specimens, each Nunavut mule toonie serves as a tangible testament to the intricacies and occasional surprises found within the world of coin minting. Now, once again, to identify this coin, Nunavut mule toonies lack the raised ring around the inner core on the reverse side of the coin. By examining the reverse side closely, you can discern the absence of the raised rim where the ring and the insert meet, which will indicate its status as the mule variant. So what do you say we discuss some of the values for the 1999 Nunavut toonies? Now, the regular base price for the 1999 polar bear out of the proof set, now this is not actually a proof strike, it is just simply a uncirculated set, is worth around $35 for the polar bear. That is the more valuable of the regular issues. And then there is the regular issue 1999 Nunavut without any airs or varieties. This is worth around $25 maximum, which isn't too bad. If you're able to score one of these sets for a pretty reasonable price, around $20, and the coins are in impeccable condition, you can still turn a little profit if you send it in to be graded. But then we have the holy grail, the Nunavut mule toonie, which is quite a bit more valuable than the other two, if I do say so myself. Now, the price estimates kick in for this coin at NBU 64, so it is not a proof-like strike or a proof strike, it is just a business strike that contains this mule air. For an NBU 64, it can be worth around $245. For a 66, it can be worth $318. And for an uncirculated 67, it can be worth around $537. If it did score any higher, a 68 or 69, you could easily be talking a $1,000 coin or more. Now, just to clarify quickly, in the realm of Canadian numismatics, coin sets play a pivotal role in commemorating significant events and celebrating our nation's rich heritage. One notable category within these sets is the NBU, or brilliant uncirculated coins. These coins, while not intended for circulation, are struck with the same composition as those produced for general circulation. The only difference is that they are basically packaged meticulously by the mint, but the actual strikes or finishes on these coins are no different than the standard circulation issues. From the moment of their minting, brilliant uncirculated set coins are carefully preserved in protective envelopes or the original packaging, which safeguards their luster and ensures their untouched state. However, once removed from these secure confines, distinguishing one of these brilliant uncirculated set coins from a circulated business strike becomes a more challenging task, as their identical compositions blur the lines between a numismatic treasure and an everyday currency. The evolution of terminology within the numismatic community sheds light on the significance of these brilliant uncirculated set coins. They were initially referred to as proof-like or PL coins, but the term underwent a transformation in the year 1977, with third-party grading companies and other references adopting the NBU designation. This change reflected a broader recognition of the coin's brilliant and uncirculated state, highlighting their value beyond more than currency. So pretty much what I am trying to tell you guys is if you buy a Canadian proof set after the year 1977, your coins will receive a designation of NBU, meaning brilliant uncirculated out of a set. But if you send a pre-1977 coin in to be graded, it will either receive a PL proof-like designation, or if it's a little bit earlier, it might also receive the PR designation, which is the proof designation. The reason that I'm bringing this up is because a lot of these mule coins will get the NBU designation. They weren't actually produced for general circulation. That doesn't mean that you can't find them in your pocket change, or if you are coin roll hunting, crazier things have happened and people have found true gems and one-of-a-kind holy grails before. So it is always good to have these coins on your radar and know what to look for so you don't accidentally let a gem slip back into the wilds of circulation. In the year 2010, the Canadian Mint produced two varieties for the Tuni with differing numbers of serrations along the outside rim. The more common version of this coin has 16 serrations, while the rarer of the two varieties only has 14 serrations. These serrations serve both aesthetic and functional purposes, aiding in the coin's anti-counterfeiting measures and providing a tactile texture for easy identification. The rarer variety of the 2010 Toonies only has 14 serrations along the outer rim. This difference in the serration counts sets it apart from the more common version and makes it more highly sought after by collectors. Now, to differentiate the 14 serration variety from the more common 16 serration version, you just need to inspect the outer rim of the coin. Counting the serrations along the rim can help identify which of the two 2010 Tuni varieties that you possess. Due to its rarity, the 14 serration variety of these 2010 Toonies holds greater collectible value compared to the more common 16 serration version. The discovery of such minor variations in coin designs often sparks excitement among collectors and numismatists. These unique varieties contribute to the diversity and richness of the hobby, encouraging further exploration and study of Canadian coinage. The Canadian 2010 Tuni, with its two serration varieties, is a prime example of the intricacies and nuances found within the world of numismatics. The quest to uncover and find rare varieties like the 14 serration Tuni adds a layer of depth and excitement to the pursuit of collecting Canadian coins, and also gives you another reason to coin roll hunt Toonies here in Canada. Now, in the year 2010, an intriguing Tuni was discovered in a set celebrating the Vancouver Olympic Games known as the No Waterlines variety. This unique variation is found exclusively within the 2010 Olympic coin sets, and it offers collectors a distinctive twist on the traditional design. To identify this variety, you simply need to scrutinize the background behind the polar bear featured on the coin's reverse in the center core. Unlike the regular issue, the No Waterlines variety exhibits a smoother appearance with fewer details and lines in the water, creating a visually captivating contrast. The existence of this 2010 No Waterlines variety on this Canadian Tuni may be attributed to several factors in the minting process. One plausible explanation could involve dye preparation and maintenance. Dye polishing, a routine step in the dye preparation process, involves smoothing out imperfections and irregularities on the dye's surface to ensure clear and precise strikes on the coins. During dye polishing, if the background behind the polar bear on the center core of the dye was not uniformly treated, it could result in variations in the level of detail and lines present in the design. This inconsistency could lead to the creation of the No Waterlines variety, where the background exhibits fewer details and lines compared to the standard version. Other factors such as dye wear or differences in striking pressure could also contribute to these variations or the appearance of the coin's design elements. Over time, dyes undergo wear and tear from the repeated striking of coins, which can affect the clarity and definition of the design. Variations in striking pressure during the minting process can also result in differences in the depth and intensity of the design elements on the coin. While the exact cause of the No Waterlines variety may not be definitively known, it is likely the result of subtle differences in the dye preparation or striking process. Despite the rarity of this variety and its presence primarily in the 2010 Olympic coin sets, it serves as a fascinating example of the intricacies and nuances involved in the minting of Canadian coins. Now, what sets the no waterlines variety apart from the other 2010 Toonies is not just its scarcity, but also its potential for increased value when combined with other rare features. For instance, if paired with the 14 serration variety, the value of this coin can escalate significantly, potentially reaching or exceeding $1,000. Now, most or all of the Toonies made for these sets were intended to come with these 16 serrations, so finding one with 14 serrations and no waterlines could make it a one-of-a-kind air coin. Now, we do have some price estimates for the no waterlines variety, which are as followed. This coin is classified as NBU, meaning it has a brilliant uncirculated finish and comes out of a set, but it would not look any different than your standard 2010 Toonie unless it has the no waterlines air. So just to give you guys an idea, if you find the regular 2010 Toonie out of this set and it doesn't have any airs and it has the 16 serrations, which is the standard, then it can be worth up to $35 for an NBU 67, which isn't quite at the tip top of the Sheldon scale, but it is a really high grade example of one of these coins. Now, if you can identify the no waterlines variety, which will mean that there will be less detail in the water ripples on the center core reverse design of the coin, then it can be worth around $200 for an NBU 67. So the price increases quite a bit from the standard issue, and if you were to find one and it scored any higher than that, you could be sure that you would see some big price jumps. You could easily be talking a $1,000 coin or more if it hits that NBU 70 mark. So let's also discuss the value for the regular circulation 2010 Toonies. If you were to find the 2010 business strike, it would be classified as an MS. The value of the 16 serration version, which is the more common issue, can be worth up to $51 for an MS66 example, which is an exceptionally high grade for a business strike. If you were to find the rare of the two varieties, which is the 14 serration version of the 2010 Toonie, it can be worth up to $350 for an MS66 example. So it is actually quite valuable and one of the more rare of the Canadian Toonies that you can look for. And as I mentioned earlier, if you were able to find one of the 2010 Olympic sets and identify both the 14 serrations and also the no waterline variety on the 2010 Toonie out of the set, you could be talking a one-of-a-kind holy grail coin, as all the 2010 Toonies and the Olympic sets were intended to be struck with 16 serrations. So if you ever are able to find the no waterline variety, you also want to check and see if maybe, just maybe, it has the 14 serrations as well. The allure of discovering rare varieties like the 2010 No Waterlines Toonie extends beyond the realm of mere coin collecting. Each new variety discovered adds a layer of depth and excitement to the hobby and prompts collectors to delve deep into their collections to see if they possess any of these unique pieces. The possibility of finding one of these rare coins in circulation or in your pocket change adds an element of fun and surprise to the pursuit and encourages enthusiasts to keep a keen eye on their pocket change for hidden treasures. In the world of coin collecting, every discovery holds the potential to unveil a hidden gem, and the no waterlines variety exemplifies this sentiment perfectly. As collectors embark on their quest to acquire these elusive coins, they contribute to the broader appreciation and understanding of Canadian numismatic history. With each new, unique variety that surfaces, it gives us another chance to own a tangible piece of Canadian numismatic history. In the year 2012, there were 3 different Toonie designs released for circulation. The first is the original Toonie design with no added security features. The second are the security $2 coins. These Toonies were meticulously crafted at the Canadian Mint's cutting-edge facility located in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Leveraging the innovative multiply-plated steel technology, these coins uphold the same manufacturing approach that has been successfully employed for Canada's lower denomination circulation coinage since the year 2001. This patented method involves the application of alternating layers of distinct metals including copper, nickel, and brass onto a durable steel core. The result is a coin that not only utilizes fewer metals than traditional alloy coins, but also stands out for its cost effectiveness and circulation coin production. Beyond the efficiency of the multiply-plated steel technology, the $2 circulation coins of the Security series boast additional security features. These enhancements include new highly visible security elements designed to thwart counterfeiting attempts. The reverse side, also known as the tail side of the coin, showcases a laser mark micro engraving, contributing to the coin's advanced security measures. Furthermore, the $2 coins in the security series go above and beyond with the incorporation of a virtual image and edge lettering on the reverse side. This innovative addition enhances both the aesthetic appeal and the security profile of these coins, making them not only a functional medium of exchange, but also a testament to the mint's commitment to staying at the forefront of coinage technology. The third and final 2012 $2 circulation coin that was released is a commemorative with a depiction of the HMS Shannon on the reverse. This coin holds a special significance as it commemorates the historic naval achievements of the HMS Shannon. Renowned for its notable victory in the capture of the USS Chesapeake during a pivotal naval battle in June 1813, this coin pays tribute to a key moment in maritime history. The Tunies reverse side encapsulates the essence of the HMS Shannon's remarkable feat, emphasizing its successful escort of the American war prize into Halifax Harbor following the defeat of the USS Chesapeake. This engagement, which unfolded in June of 1813, marked a turning point in naval warfare and showcased the prowess of the HMS Shannon and her crew. Tragically, the battle resulted in the loss of 23 Shannon crewmen. The sacrifices made by these individuals are commemorated in the Royal Navy Burying Grounds and at the Old Burial Ground, both administered by St. Paul's Church in Halifax. The graves serve as poignant reminders of the human cost associated with the pursuit of victory and the defense of national interests. Notably, a tangible relic of the HMS Shannon's legacy is preserved in Halifax, the ship's bell. Displayed at the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic, the bell stands as a testament to the vessel's historical significance and the bravery of those who served aboard it. Now, even to find one of these regular HMS Shannon coins in your pocket change can be fun, as this piece serves as a numismatic tribute to the naval prowess, sacrifices, and historical impact of this distinguished vessel. Now, little known to most, there is actually a rare variety that you can look for on this HMS Shannon Tuni that can add a premium to the coin, and it is often referred to as the extra sail variety. And to identify it, you should do the following. First, you want to examine the reverse side of the 2012 Canadian HMS Shannon $2 coin. Focus on the depiction of the HMS Shannon, particularly where the ship's sails are located. Now pay close attention to the sails on the right side of the ship, particularly the most closest to the right edge of the coin. In the case of the extra sail variety, there should be one additional sail to the right side compared to the other ship masts and sails. Now, to confirm the presence of the extra sail variety, it's very helpful to compare a coin with a standard 2012 HMS Shannon Tuni. For a more detailed examination, consider using magnification, such as a magnifying glass or a coin loop. This can help you scrutinize the finer details of the coin's design and confirm the presence of the additional sail. Numismatic communities and online forums often share images and information about coin varieties. You can check out some reputable sources or online forums where collectors discuss specific coin variations. If you guys are interested in joining my group on Facebook, Canadian Coin Roll Hunters, we actually have over 4,000 members now, and there are some members that post every single day. So if you think that you have found any of the coins that I discuss in any of these videos and you would like to post a picture, you will definitely get some confirmation on whether you have the rare variety or the more common. If you ever are in doubt, or if you want to ensure the accuracy of your identification, consider consulting numismatic experts or a reputable coin dealer. They may have the expertise to confirm the presence of the extra sail variety after physically inspecting the coin and possibly comparing it to high quality images. Now, the overall mintage figures for the 2012 Toonies. The $2 2012 Tuni without any security features has a mintage figure of 1,531,000. The 2012 Tuni with security features has a mintage of 82,862,000. So it would seem that the original Tuni with no security features is a lot more rare in the year 2012, but it is not much more valuable than the other 2012 Toonies. The extra sail is the only one that is worth quite a bit more above face. Now, the overall mintage for the 2012 HMS Shannon Tuni is 5 million, the extra sail variety being a very small limited number contained within that. In terms of its value, just to give you guys an idea in comparison, the regular HMS Shannon Tuni is only worth around $5 for an MS63 example. The most valuable of the 2012 Toonies at an MS63 is the 2012 without any security features, which is worth around $13. Now, if you were to find one of the HMS Shannon Toonies and you can identify the extra sale, that can actually be worth $300 for an MS63 example. So this is a coin that will carry a premium even on the low end. If it's not in great shape, it can still probably be worth anywhere from $5 to $10, and as the condition increases, as will the value. Now, if you were to find one of these and it scored an MS65, it can be worth around $400, and if you got one and it scored an MS67, you might even be talking a $700 to $1,000 toonie, but you definitely need to identify the extra sale, or else it is not very valuable at all, not worth much above face, even in a mint state. Since many of the notable security measures were not implemented until the year 2012, there have been several cases and reports of Canadian counterfeit toonies. I've actually stumbled across them myself in some of my coin roll hunts. They are pretty easy to tell apart. Usually you can tell by the pointy nose on the queen and what they call the camel toe on the polar bear. But that is definitely the small downside when it comes to producing coins out of steel and cheaper alloys, is that it makes them a lot easier to counterfeit when they do not have advanced security measures. The word toonie is a combination of the numeral 2 and the name of the Canadian $1 coin currently used in circulation, the loonie. Although it is often misspelled TWONIE or TWOONIE, Canadian publications and the Royal Canadian Mint officially use the word and spelling TOONIE. In honor of the Inuit and their northern culture, Jack Ierak Anahuac, a member of parliament from an Aboriginal tribe located in Nunavut, proposed the name Nanook. However, this suggestion was largely overlooked in favor of the well-known Tuni. The Royal Canadian Mint acquired the rights to the name Tuni in 2006 since it had gained such widespread acceptance. Following a contest to give the bear a name, Churchill was chosen, paying homage to both Winston Churchill and frequent sightings of polar bears in Churchill, Manitoba. Finance Minister Paul Martin announced the replacement of the $2 banknote with a coin in the year 1995 in the Canadian federal budget speech. The Royal Canadian Mint then spent $17,400 Canadian to canvass 2,000 Canadian households regarding which of the 10 theme options they preferred. Under the direction of C. Truong, the Royal Canadian Mint Engineer Division designed the $2 coin to be made from two different metals. The metals for the bimetallic coin would be lighter and thinner than those produced anywhere in the world at the time. To join the two parts, the engineering division selected a bimechanical locking mechanism. By the end of 1996, the Winnipeg facility had struck 375 million of these coins, and the coin was officially launched at Ben's Deli in Montreal on February 19, 1996. The community of Campbellford, Ontario, home to the coin's designer, constructed an 8-meter tall or 26-foot toonie monument similar to the Big Loonie in Echo Bay and the iconic Big Nickel in Sudbury. Unlike the loonie, the toonie and $2 bill were not being produced at the same time as each other, as the $2 bill was withdrawn from circulation on February 16, 1996, 3 days prior to the toonie's introduction. Some of the original toonies that were released for circulation actually had a defect. When the first batch of toonies were struck hard or frozen, some of the coins might separate due to a malfunction in the bimetallic locking mechanism. The Royal Canadian Mint reacted by saying that there was a 1 in 60 million chance of a toonie falling apart, despite media reports of defective toonies. Section 456 of the Canadian Criminal Code defines defacing coin currency as purposely attempting to split a toonie. This is actually a criminal offense in Canada. Now, what do you say we get into the toonie that you guys all came here to find out about, and that is the 1996 German planchet. When the first $2 coin was officially launched on February 19, 1996, an event was held where it was said that 60 million of the new coins should be made available. Not yet ready with the new technology to meet this demand, Canada actually purchased from Deutsche Nickel, a German supplier, planchets needed to produce the first 60 million coins. The Royal Canadian Mint was able to make the first 60 million $2 coins in 1996 thanks to the production of 10 million pre-assembled planchets by the company Deutsche Nickel in Germany. Unlike the Canadian planchet toonies, the 1996 $2 German planchet coins feature lines with a dull matte texture across the ring. It is considerably easier to distinguish between the German and Canadian planchettes when the coins are uncirculated. However, once these coins enter circulation and start to wear down, the distinguishing lines become less noticeable. Despite this, the use of German planchettes was a crucial factor in meeting the high demand for $2 coins in Canada at that time. Now, before we get into the values for the 1996 German planchet toonie, first let's go over some of the basic specifications for the coin. The 1996 Canadian planchet toonie was produced at a mintage figure of 315,483,000. The 1996 German planchet was produced at a mintage figure of 10 million. The coins are composed with an outer ring of 100% nickel and an inner core of 92% copper, 6% aluminum, and 2% nickel. They have a weight of 7.3 grams, a diameter of 28 millimeters, a thickness of 1.8 millimeters. The designers for the coin are Dora DePadre Hunt and Augo Aran for the obverse, and Brent Townsend and Augo Aran for the reverse. It is magnetic and has a die-axis in metal alignment, as is the standard for most Canadian coins. So when it comes to value, a lot of the time when you are dealing with Canadian loonies and toonies, it is very rare that you will find any, even with heirs or varieties, that are worth a lot of money in a low grade state. Usually they have to be in a mint state to get the most amount or premium for the coin, and the German planchet, unfortunately, is not much different than the other cases. If you do find one of these and it is at the low end of the Sheldon scale, so beat up and worn and been through the meat grinder, firstly, it's going to be very hard to identify that it is a German planchet, and it's not going to be worth much or anything above face value. But as you start to get into the MS scale, you start to see some pretty big price jumps for this coin. It can be worth around $80 for an MS63. It can be worth $271 for an MS65, and all the way up to $694 for an MS66, which on Coins in Canada is currently the highest graded known example. If you were to find one of these and it's scored in the MS67 range, there is no reason that it could push the $1,000 mark. This is definitely a super rare variety to look for, and they did make quite a few of them. 10 million is a pretty high mintage figure, but the trick in these is identifying the German planchet. It will look a little bit more greasy. You will see those dull texture lines as well. I have actually found one of these German planchet toonies in one of my hunts, and I could definitely tell it apart from some of the other uncirculated 1996 Canadian planchet toonies. They stand out quite a bit. Now, just to give you a quick idea, if you were to find one of the regular 1996 Canadian planchet toonies, the maximum amount of money you could actually get for that coin is $78 for an MS66. So the German planchet is worth about 10 times more, 10 times as rare, 10 times as valuable. In honor of Canada's 150th anniversary, a glow-in-the-dark coin was introduced into circulation, presenting the ethereal charm of the Northern Lights in a new, truly distinctive manner. Crafted for the special occasion of Canada's 150th birthday, the 2017 toonie, aptly named the Dance of Spirits, pays homage to the marvels of Canadian landscapes by showcasing the breathtaking Aurora Borealis. The design on the reverse side of the Dance of the Spirits 2017 toonie portrays adventurers gracefully paddling across a tranquil lake beneath the radiant veil of the Northern Lights. The Northern Lights are actually referred to as the Dance of the Spirits by the Cree peoples, adding cultural depth and symbolism to the coin. Another cohesive element among the different 2017 commemorative coins is the inclusion of the Canada 150th logo, characterized by a mosaic arrangement of 13 triangular shapes, each representing a different province or territory. Some of the specifications for this coin: it was crafted with a 3-ply nickel finish plated with steel for the outer ring, and a 3-ply brass finish plated with aluminum bronze for the inner core. The coin has a weight of 6.99 grams and a diameter of 28 millimeters and was released for general circulation. Marking a significant milestone in coinage history, the Canadian 2017 glow-in-the-dark toonie stands out as the world's premier glow-in-the-dark coin to be introduced into general circulation. This wasn't the first instance of the Canadian Mint venturing into the realm of glow-in-the-dark coins. In the year 2012, Canada unveiled a quarter featuring the luminous skeleton of a dinosaur. Though this coin wasn't intended for widespread circulation, its innovation didn't go unnoticed. In fact, it garnered the prestigious Krauss Publications 2014 Coin of the Year award for its trailblazing design, further solidifying Canada's reputation as a leader in numismatic innovation. Now, what do you say we get into the coin that you guys are all here to find out about, and that is the Canadian 2017 Snow on Trees variety for this glow-in-the-dark toonie. Now, the 2017 glow-in-the-dark Snow on Trees variety presents a distinctive feature that sets it apart from its regular counterpart. To identify this unique variety, one must scrutinize the details of the tree line on the center brass core of the coin. If the tree line is outlined by a white shading or glow, then it belongs to the Snow on Trees variety. If there is no white outlining the trees, then it is the standard version without any variety. While this error or variety might not be widely recognized currently, it bears similarities to popular errors seen in coins from the United States, which have garnered considerable attention among collectors. Considering the rarity of the 2017 toonie, which is arguably one of the most scarcest in circulation, with a minimum base value ranging from $10 to $20 when they sell online, possessing the Snow on Trees or the Snow on Mountains variety could elevate the value of a high-grade example to being one of the most coveted among toonie collectors. Now, if we take a look at coin errors in the United States, one notable example is the extra leaf error found on the Wisconsin state quarter, which was released in the year 2004 as part of the 50 state quarters program. Now, on this subtle error, an additional leaf appears on the ear of the corn featured on the reverse side of the coin. This anomaly was the result of a die variety, likely due to misalignment during the minting process. Coin errors like the extra leaf Wisconsin quarter can significantly impact the value of a coin. Collectors often seek out such varieties due to their rarity and uniqueness. In the case of the Wisconsin quarter, coins with the extra leaf error can fetch prices well above their face value, particularly if they're in high-grade condition. Depending on factors such as the severity of the error, the coin's condition, and also demand from collectors, the value of these error coins can vary widely. These varieties are often viewed as curiosities and highly sought after by numismatists. As a result, error coins can command premiums in the numismatic market, and it makes them a valuable asset for collectors who are keen to acquire rare and unusual pieces that may appreciate in value. So even though this 2017 toonie might not be setting the coin world on fire right now, it doesn't mean that that can't change very quickly, and this could easily become one of the most valuable toonies that you could find or look for. If I had to give an estimate currently, if you were able to find one of these and identify the Snow on Trees variety, it would probably be worth about 5 to 10 times the value of the regular glow-in-the-dark toonie. So the regular glow-in-the-dark being worth around $100 to $150 in a high-grade state, I don't doubt that this coin could be worth up to $1,000 if it's scored in the high mint state range and somebody really wanted to add it to their collection. Now, one super crucial piece of advice that I want to share is about the value of coins. One of the questions that I get asked most often on my channel is, how much is my coin worth? Now, whether it's a rare gem, a key date, an error or variety, or even a common piece, determining a coin's true worth boils down to a simple fact. It's worth exactly what someone is willing to pay for it. Even though I might assess a coin at a certain value based on several factors such as rarity and condition, that estimate doesn't necessarily guarantee that the coin will actually sell for that price. For instance, you might find a buyer willing to pay top dollar for an MS67 example of a coin, especially if they're a passionate collector of error coins. But in most cases, buying and selling coins often results in a loss rather than a substantial profit. Now, there are instances where seemingly ordinary coins can fetch far more than their face value. I've actually experienced this firsthand. Some individuals have disposable income and are willing to splurge on coins, while others are driven by the desire to complete their collections and are willing to pay a premium for specific pieces. Additionally, there are those who may not be well versed in coin valuation and are simply drawn to spending money on items they find intriguing. So to summarize, a coin's rarity and potential value doesn't always translate into a guaranteed sale. Sometimes seemingly insignificant coins can sometimes fetch unexpectedly high prices. While I do advocate for honesty in representing a coin's value and discourage misrepresentation for profit, I also believe that certain modern coins, such as colored Canadian quarters from certain years, hold value beyond their face value. These coins, although occasionally encountered in everyday transactions in Canada, can be highly sought after by collectors worldwide, leading to increased demand and higher prices. So all of that being said, if you did find one of these 2017 toonies and you are able to identify the Snow snow on trees variety, your best chance of being able to sell one of these for the highest premium is probably going to be on eBay or an online marketplace site like maybe Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji. In the annals of numismatic history, amidst the clinking of coins and the hum of minting machinery, there exists a narrative both captivating and mysterious, a tale that transcends borders and mingles the essence of two nations' coinage. Enter the Canadian 2000 Toonie struck on a United States Sacagawea dollar planchet, a numismatic anomaly that emerged from an unforeseen partnership between the Canadian Mint and the United States Mint, weaving together a saga rich in intrigue, collaboration, and fascination. The Sacagawea golden dollar, minted by the United States Mint from the years 2000 to 2008, was a groundbreaking coin, featuring an outer layer of manganese brass that gave it a distinctive golden hue. Its obverse depicted Sacagawea, the Shoshone Indian guide of a historic Lewis and Clark expedition, while the reverse showcased a soaring eagle. Sacagawea's role as a guide and the interpreter during the expedition, despite her young age and pregnancy, was crucial to its success, earning her lasting admiration. The coin's design selection process involved significant public participation, with the Dollar Coin Design Advisory Committee ultimately recommending Sacagawea's image. Sculptor Glenna Goodacre's design was unveiled at the White House in May 1999, capturing Sacagawea's likeness and commemorating her invaluable contributions to American history. This coin's release marked a significant moment in numismatic history, honoring Sacagawea's legacy and celebrating the spirit of exploration and unity. Set against the backdrop of the turn of the millennium, where the dawn of a new era beckoned, the United States Mint embarked on a monumental endeavor: the introduction of this Sacagawea dollar. As minting activity reached unprecedented heights, the Royal Canadian Mint, renowned for its precision and ingenuity, extended a helping hand to its American counterpart, forging a unique bond of collaboration in the realm of coinage, and this was not the first time that our countries collaborated or assisted each other. I have said many times that American and Canadian coins share a symbiotic relationship, and even though in most cases Canadian coins are compared and more similar to their British or Australian counterparts, it can't be denied that Canada drew heavy inspiration from the American money system. There have been other instances, like in the year 1968, where the United States Mint actually took over production of some of the Canadian dimes to help relieve some of the pressure on production when they were switching metal compositions from silver to nickel alloy that year. These dimes can be distinguished by inspecting the reading along the outside of the coin. I have actually covered the Philadelphia Mint 1968 dimes in a previous video. If you guys would like to check that out, I'll leave a link for that in the top corner. In this remarkable display of cooperation, the Canadian Mint supplied not only planchettes for the 5-cent coins in the year 2000, but also for the Sacagawea dollars, offering invaluable support to alleviate the production constraints faced by the United States Mint during this pivotal moment in numismatic history. However, amidst the flurry of minting activity, fate intervened in unexpected ways, unveiling a peculiar twist in this tale. Amidst the vast production volume exceeding 1.25 billion pieces between Philadelphia and Denver, a subtle yet significant alteration emerged. In a remarkable twist of fate, Canadian 2000 Toonie was discovered struck on a United States $1 Sacagawea planchet. This coin is a testament to the relationship of the two nations in the realm of numismatics, where borders are blurred and coins transcend their intended identities. The occurrence of the planchet mix-up during the minting process is a rare but plausible phenomenon that can take place due to various factors within the minting environment. In the case of the Canadian 2000 Toonie struck on a United States Sacagawea dollar planchet, the mix-up likely occurred due to a combination of logistical, mechanical, and also human factors. The minting process involves the handling of large quantities of planchettes, which are the blank metal discs used for coin production. These planchettes are typically sourced from suppliers and transported to the minting facility. During transit or storage, there is a possibility of planchettes intended for one coin type getting mixed up for those intended for another. Within the minting facility, the planchets undergo a series of mechanical processes, including feeding into the coin presses and being struck with the coin dies. Despite stringent quality control measures, mechanical errors can occur, leading to planchets intended for one denomination or design inadvertently being fed into coin presses set up for another. While minting operations are highly automated, human intervention is still required at various stages of the process. This includes loading planchets into the hoppers, monitoring the operation of the coin presses, and conducting quality checks on finished coins. Human errors such as mislabeling or misidentifying planchet batches could contribute to planchet mix-ups during production. In some cases, minting facilities may produce coins for multiple countries or denominations simultaneously. This can lead to overlaps in production schedules and processes, increasing the likelihood of planchet mix-ups if the proper precautions are not taken to segregate and track different batches of planchets. Now, as far as I can tell, there are only a few known examples of this coin accounted for currently, but that doesn't mean that you can't get lucky and find one of these in the wilds of circulation, especially if you coin roll hunt tunies on the regular. In the year 2010, an MS-66 graded example of this coin sold for $9,000. One of the more recent noted sales of this coin, an MS-64 example, sold in the year 2014 for an impressive $6,000. So even if you did find one of these and it's not in the greatest shape, it's pretty beat up, worn, and been put through the meat grinder, you're still probably going to be able to get a couple $100s for this coin. It is not too often that you stumble across planchet errors when it comes to coin roll hunting or coin collecting, and when it comes to a more modern denomination like the Canadian Toonie, you can be sure it will probably bring a premium along with the coin. So what do you say we get into the 1996 beaded mule or test token toonie, which I would consider to probably be the rarest Canadian toonie of all time. In the year 1996, there was a toonie produced with only a few known examples accounted for to this day. This coin is commonly referred to as the beaded toonie because of the beaded border around the rim. The main difference between this beaded toonie and the final design of the $2 coin is the presence of a ring of beads on the obverse and reverse of the coin. Only 4 coins with this border are currently known to exist, and it's not entirely clear why they were made, but there are a few theories about why these coins exist. One is they were either an experimental pattern and only a few of these were produced, and another theory is they were an early version of the coin that was later cancelled and most of them were melted down. PCGS classifies it as a trial strike, but there's no evidence to support this. The coin's mysterious origins make it more appealing to collectors. In September of 2021, it sold at auction for $4,700 Canadian with an additional $700 Canadian dollars in fees. This coin has a grade of almost uncirculated, and it is worth about $4,100 US. Now, this coin could be considered a mule, but it is more widely accepted as a test token. Although PCGS has classified this coin as a test token, there is no historical evidence to support this. It is unclear how many of these coins were released to the public, but only 4 have been certified by PCGS. In terms of rarity, it is probably not only one of the most rare toonies, but also one of the most valuable and underrated modern Canadian coins you might still have a chance to be able to find in your pocket change, and this variety definitely adds a level of intrigue and spice to coin roll hunting and collecting toonies here in Canada.